This is the weekly recap. Every hiccup on the map. From incident IQ to the fix on tap. What we learned last week makes this week better for you.
Hi everyone, Mike Simmons here, and today is February 17th, and we have a nice 3-day weekend that we're just coming off of. And boy, the weather's been really nice. I hope it sticks around. I hope it's not one of these fake springs and then winter rears its ugly head. All right, well, what did we learn last week to make this week even better? Let's jump right in. Now, one thing we noticed is that we had this confusion about what's domain network, what's guest network, and the printing's not working, or I can't access a share drive. Let's jump in. Let's talk about what's going on. Imagine you have club domain, and that's where the party's hopping, and you want to be part of the party, and you've got a bouncer at the start of the club. And what's happening is if you are a client and that third octet says 0 to 9, you're on the client network, they're going to let you right in, and you're going to be able to print. You can access share drives. You can have fun at the party. But if that third octet is anything outside of the range of 0 to 9, you are considered a guest, and they're going to bounce you right out. They're not going to let you on the domain, and then that's the reason why you can't see printers, you can't see share drives, you're not able to do the work properly. So what's the fix? What can you do to fix it? Well, just get the MAC address of the machine and get the IP address, get the username, gather the information, and send that over to sysadmin. And then we're going to work on a policy that's going to help get that machine back on the client as soon as possible. Now, there is one exception. One exception is if the machine is running Language Lab software. Language Lab, it's going to be Wi-Fi only. The way that the software is designed is it needs an Ethernet connection, and it's going to have its own kind of local connection to the software. And so that one's always going to be on a Wi-Fi connection and not Ethernet. Now on the Wi-Fi, that will be on the client network, but if you're trying to get it to force an Ethernet connection on the domain, it just ain't going to happen. So hate to burst that bubble. It ain't going to happen with Language Lab laptops. And then another thing I wanted to bring up is, speaking of machines, laptops, if you have the PPKG that says local, PPKG local, we had set that up with a local admin account for a specific purpose. Now, a lot of times that had to do with 3D printing, or you might have in those CTA labs, they've got robotics and all kinds of crazy stuff. They're cutting and all that stuff. But the purpose here is you didn't want to have the site have to pay for all new equipment to update its software to make it compatible and to make it compliant with cyber. Instead, we gave an option to say we're going to give you a local unmanaged admin machine that you can use to drive whatever the software is. But we don't want that to be your daily driver. We don't want teachers logging in, trying to print reports or trying to use it as an everyday, like, okay, I'm using this as my machine to sign in and check my emails and use my username and my password. We're trying to keep people off that because we have it separated from the domain, and we want it to be on its own little bubble, its own little island, if you will, because it's using software that's out of date. It's not running security updates or patches. We want to minimize the risk on those machines. So only use PPKG local if it's for a specific purpose in a lab, for software that's outdated, and it's just going to be isolated on its own little world. Don't use it as a daily driver, meaning don't check your emails, do all your work and your printing from it. That's just not a good practice. And I talked with Ben in cyber, and he is on the same page with me. He's the one who's saying, hey, let's make sure it's not a daily driver machine. And then lastly, I want to talk about the power of tech tools. That's right, the power of tech tools. And so inside of our Teams chat, we've got, if you go on the left where it says Teams and then sysadmin support and then shared, there's a shared folder called Tech Tools. And you can also link it to your OneDrive. You can add a shortcut to your OneDrive. if you go a step further, you can actually copy all the files and its contents to a physical flash drive, maybe where you have your keys on the same keychain, put the flash drive. That would be a really useful tool because you can download things like the PDQ agent to uninstall, reinstall the agent. You could do the print deploy agent. You could do global protect agent. There's several helpful files. We've got all the PPKG files on there. We've got drivers on there. Just everything that would be helpful to your daily tickets as you're working those tickets. So last thing I want to bring up is the big four. So we've talked about it in the past, but anytime you escalate a ticket, just make sure, just to kind of clear the confusion, to make sure that we're not having all this back and forth, to reduce the clutter, let's add the username, the machine name, the MAC address or IP address, and also a screenshot or screen recording of the error. If you do that, those four things on each and every ticket when you escalate, you're going to be golden. And you're going to have a whole lot less back and forth, and you're going to get resolutions a lot quicker. Because again, our overarching goal is to minimize technology downtime. Enjoy today. Students are out of the building, and so this will be a great day to catch up on tickets and also update your inventory and clean those wiring closets. Get everything organized and clean once you get caught up on tickets. And I hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday. We'll see you again next week, and have a great day.
This is the weekly recap. Every hiccup on the map. From incident IQ to the fix on tap. What we learned last week makes this week better for you.